Let me unmute. Hey, how you doing?
We'd have to unmute too. Good, how are you guys?
Good. Good to see you.
I know. That was too funny when I heard your name this morning. I was like, wait, I know that name.
I know those guys. It's kind of a coincidence, but I'm glad it worked out this way.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
I knew where to find you if you didn't call back. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
we're just waiting for everybody to sign up. Usually the meeting starts at 7. So
Yeah, that's what we heard. I have a couple neighbors that I know confirmed that they'd be joining on Zoom. They have young kids, so it's like bedtime and dinner time and all that. So
I'm in the middle of the same thing right now. So
Yeah,
you'll see me running back and forth making pasta and stuff. So yeah, it's all good.
Good. Well, they'll
So
feel
you
like
guys
they're-
are expecting?
We are.
Yes.
That's the exciting news that I dropped into my
You did in your little email. It's like, wait, what? How far are you?
You know what's so funny is I sent it to my neighbors too, just to like, because they have so much going on in their lives. They had no idea this was even going on. So I just showed them like what was going on, and they were like, "Oh my God, you buried the lead."
How
Yeah.
far along are you?
About 12 weeks. You're actually the first to find out.
Oh,
It's very early.
congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's early on.
Exciting.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're really excited.
So you
Yeah.
still don't know what it is, right? Not
No,
Yeah.
too early. Too
no, but I think we'll find out.
early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll probably find out next month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very
exciting.
exciting start to the year.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
Definitely
But it's
changed
all good.
our trajectory.
Yeah.
Our general trajectory,
Yeah.
but we're stoked and fun surprises, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic
Yes.
surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does get a lot better. So
Yeah.
we're stoked, and we were like set up on Wittenberg really nicely. So we're excited for all that.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. Woodstock's a great place to grow up.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
Agree.
grew up in the city. I grew up in Manhattan, and it was great, but it was great like after 16 years old. Before that, I spent a lot of time in my room.
Yeah.
I grew up in Venezuela, but I used to come up here
Good.
every summer and every winter. So this was like my home away from home with my
Yeah.
grandparents.
That's so
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where is everybody? In the waiting? Oh,
Oh.
I can ping Manny and Sam too. Good. How are
I
you?
can hear you. Yay.
Okay,
Good.
You got it down pat, Gordon.
Snow.
I was ready early.
Come here. It's almost done, Gordon.
In a couple minutes. Yeah, Joe should be joining us. Jude, Joe. That's what Butcher's talking about.
Hey, Gordon,
Hi, Marcia, how are you?
I'm good.
You still
Gonna be heading
elsewhere?
back next week.
Okay, well, have a good journey.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to call the Woodstock Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for February 23rd, 2023 to order. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll take a roll call. Gordon Wem,
Michael Castigno. Martin Mills.
Marcia's willing.
we have a quorum and we have one member on Zoom. I would like to submit the minutes from February 9th, 2023 for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any changes or additions to the meeting agenda tonight? Okay, so we do a public hearing here. We do have a few people. It's not that big a crowd. I've seen bigger in my life, but I would just like to set everything so everybody's clear how we're going to do this. We're going to open a public hearing tonight very shortly. But once we do, it's the applicant is going to give us their application, going to present their application. We're going to ask everybody else who's not on the board to mute their Zoom during this time. Everybody in the public and contiguous neighbors will have a chance to talk, but we only talk when you've been called on because we're going to go in order. The contiguous neighbors first, and any other neighbor wishes to present to this. But during this time, there will be no cross talking, no talking during the presentation, and no talking when the board is asking questions. But we will give everybody a chance to speak on this. We're gonna, it's not as big as if it gets really large. We're gonna keep people. Cut people off after a few minutes because if you need to submit more information. The public hearing will most likely close tonight, but you'll be able to submit other information via email or present it physically here in the office at any time until we reach an opinion on this. That's enough, I guess, for now. I've seen bigger meetings, so this one seems to be manageable. So with that, I would like to open case ZBA case 2303, application of Robert and Patricia Holsapple for property located at 259 Wittenberg Road, Bearsville, New York 12409, a 5.8 acre parcel located within R3 zoning district for an interpretation as to whether or not the building inspector's determination then enlarging a site and changing a use in order to construct a contractor's yard as stated in order to remedy 22-25 is correct. So we have presenter, the application.
Gordon, I'm sorry, I just want to state that Joseph I'm sorry, Joe, is online.
Joseph Bellick has arrived. Joe, say something.
Hello, I'm here.
What's your name?
My name is Joe Belling.
There we go. Now
And
we're.
here's Jude.
Oh, hey, Jude. Jude Salato. Okay.
I'm here.
You can do it from there. You can come to the table if you like, whatever you're comfortable doing. Just sort of go over what we're looking at here tonight. Yeah.
We had an area behind our upper building, cleaning up over the past few years. We had a pile of old tires which we removed, scrap metal pile, the remains of a burn pile, truck body there that we removed, a shed that was coming apart.
1 second, Bob. Can you hear okay on the Zoom?
Not really.
Oh. Can I ask you to come up here because we have the microphones here. That way they can hear you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah, he's been cleaning up the yard, tires.
The area, yeah, and we removed all of that. There was some other debris, some abandoned fences that we removed. We had some pine trees that were dead and dying that were threatening the building. So we cut those down. The area has been used for parking in the past, not the entire area, but a lot of it. We removed stumps and graded it off and cleaned it up, brought in some crushed stone to fill in some of the low areas. We've always had a water issue in the driveway. We tried to create a little berm to direct the water away from it as much as we could. That's about it. I didn't have any idea we were doing anything wrong. So
Well, somebody had mentioned to me that it's become a construction yard.
well, we've had equipment there. My dad had a contracting business and we had heavy equipment on the property. This was back before zoning. This goes back to the 50s, 60s and early 70s. Then we got into some other product lines, recreation vehicles and
Right.
that sort of stuff. So there's always been something going on there.
Right.
And one of my tenants, he has some equipment, dump trucks, trailers. He does tree work. I've got another fellow there that does landscaping and yard home maintenance. So they have trucks and equipment there as well.
How long have the tenants been there?
My tenants have been there 2 years, maybe 3.
How many total?
Tenants?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 5.
5.
Some of them are just renting space for storage.
Mhm. They use the space every day?
No, not every day. No.
Weekly?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're there usually during the week, 3 or 4 times a week at least.
Working storage.
Yeah, they're coming in and out, getting tools and equipment. Yeah, I have 2 carpenters that store some of their equipment there. I have a photographer. He's using some space for his photography business.
Is there any work they do on site?
Other than like maintenance on their equipment, that's all.
Okay.
And I have a little woodworking shop that I'm running there too
You have one.
for myself. Yeah.
Okay.
We've had that there with the
Woodworking shop?
Yeah.
No, I've only just gotten into that in the past couple of years.
Hobby or commercial?
Yeah, just a hobby. Yeah.
Any questions from the Zoom members of the board? Jude, you need to unmute. Jude, you need to unmute.
No questions.
I'm sorry.
questions.
I have a question. I'm sorry. I have a trackpad, so it takes me a minute to get to where I need to unmute. So basically, I know it was used as like people would bring their dirt bikes and their RVs and things like that there to be repaired. You said your dad had a contracting business there. When was that discontinued?
We got out of that in the early 70s. I don't know the exact year.
So it's been a while. Okay.
Yeah, early 70s.
Okay. So just my question for you is this. Basically, you were issued a violation and you're here to talk to us about why you think that was incorrect. So I'm not really understanding your perspective on that, if you know what I mean. He's saying that you're running businesses there that were not there previously. So basically, when you had something prior to zoning and it didn't comply with the zoning, you were considered a pre-existing non-conforming use and were allowed to continue that use. But the law doesn't allow you to expand it. And once you discontinue it, I think it's a period of a year, you no longer have that use. So I'm just trying to understand if you think when you come to us, you're asking us to interpret whether or not that violation was given to you correctly. So what is it that you're asking of us? What is it that you're saying is wrong with the violation? Why is it not a violation?
Well, it was my understanding that the construction business, the equipment that my dad had there was grandfathered in. And to my knowledge, that never expires.
Well, the thing is, this isn't your equipment. So the statute is for the owner occupied business
Oh, I see.
and not for a rental. So that's in the zone.
Okay,
So that's part of it.
okay.
Is there a special use permit on this property?
No, it's a pre-existing non-conforming, right?
Could I just ask a question? I stopped by the property the other day, and I just wanted to ask you, when you drive in, there's what looks like a house on the left. Is that your residence?
My stepmother lives at that house.
Okay. And then there is the long row of buildings that go up to the top of the driveway. When I was there, Paul Alexander had a truck parked there, and there was some other
Yes.
stuff. What is that building on the left? Is that
The lower,
what
the lower building?
the lower building? Yeah.
Well, that was our showroom, parts room and service area when we had the recreational vehicle business going there. Currently, the front 2-bay garage is rented out to the photographer. I'm using the showroom and parts room myself for storage. And the landscaping and home maintenance fellow, who's my nephew, is using the back of that building.
Okay. And then the top building beyond that is where the contracting business is using?
My tenant, the tree arborist, is using that building. There's 2 of the bays in the garage that are being used for storage. And then I'm using the rest of it for my own storage.
Okay. And then your home is the one beyond that?
No, I live on the Bearsville Flats on Overlook Drive.
Okay.
I don't live on the property.
What is the other building that's up at the top beyond that?
My home.
That's another residence,
Okay, got it.
not
Okay.
associated.
Yeah.
That's associated. with my property.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else on the board have any questions? Okay, Michelle, can you read the contiguous neighbors? She's gonna read the list, and then I'll call on anybody who's a contiguous neighbor after she reads the full list.
Nancy Butler Ross, P.O. Box 112, Woodstock, New York. Nadia, I'm sorry if I butcher this, Krummenauer and Elio Leite, 7049 Ingram Street, Forest Hills, New York. Dolores Moreno, 22 West 12th Street, New York, New York. Max Fortang, 267 Whitmer Road, Bearsville, New York. Milton and Margaret Holsapple, P.O. Box 122, Bearsville, New York.
Okay, Nancy,
Yes,
would you like to speak?
I would, please.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Bob.
Hello.
Thank you for having this meeting. I would just like to say that I have lived in the house up above the Holsapple complex. There was a question. That's my property. I've lived there since 1982 and very pleasurably. Love it. It's paradise. And the Holsapple dealership and small engine repair business was there when my first husband and I purchased the building. And we have a right of way up the driveway, and we've shared that. And there's always been noise. There's been some kind of commercial thing going on there. But once I got past it, up the driveway, I was in paradise. I had my own little area of seclusion. I couldn't see any buildings, any lights. The trees that have now been felled were a big buffer for noise and light. That has now all been cleared so that I see the back of the upper building, if there's anyone there after dark, sometimes till 10 p.m., 8, 10 p.m. It's like a train station. So I've lost my sanctuary. This is my home. It's been my residence for over 40 years. I'm friends with Pat Holzapfel and her dog, Haley, who live there. I know this is disturbing for her, and I'm sorry this has to happen. But all was well until the tree cutting happened approximately last November. And I tried speaking to John Luther, and I have some emails from him. I've laid it all out for you. So if anyone has any questions, but that was really it for me, that I just lost my privacy and my sense of quiet or any, but it's just horrible. And my property value has gone down. It had gone down last year because of the multiple uses. I never made a peep. I've never made a peep to you guys, to anyone before this. The tree clearing that affected the enjoyment of my house. And then I've written other things.
Did the trees have to come down? Were they dead?
Well, they were dead and dying. Some of them were rotted on the inside when we took them down. Most of them were large trees, 8, 10, 12 inches, and they had no branches on them for the lower 40, 50 feet. Some of the trees perhaps had some branches on them that were taken down. Here's a couple of pictures. They're not very good pictures. This is after we did the work, looking up at their house.
And where I used to be able
Well,
to see just.
I think what we have here is, it's not a clear cutting issue, so this is not what is before us. It may be tangentially, I understand what you're saying,
And this is,
and I understand what yeah, we're, it's not clear cutting, and that would be a concern. That in and of itself is not, it's not really, but
I understand.
just,
But the
just
fact-
so I don't want to dwell off on something that really, I understand, and the quality is not, your quality issues are,
But it's now a multiple light industrial commercial park, and where it used to be a one family owned business. And now these other businesses have employees. There's some are seasonal. The landscaping, I believe they have 4 employees, maybe more. They arrive before dawn. There's traffic coming in and out. There are a lot of vehicles. That clear cut area, that empty area, is where John Luther is planning to store his heavy equipment and vehicles. There's no fencing. The tree.
John
greenery is-
Luther is,
John Luther Tree is.
he's one of my tenants. He's an arborist.
okay, the arborist, okay.
And I'd also just like to bring up that Bob has a woodworking shop there, but we forgot to mention your sawmill.
Yeah.
There's a lot of planking that he uses that back building for. It makes noise.
What's been there?
Yeah, I've had that for several years. I use it. I cut firewood with it. I use a lot of the lumber for myself. I barter with John. He gives me logs. I give him lumber. It's a hobby.
You can see from the photos, there's a lot of product.
All right, well, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. If you have any questions, you have my number.
Yes.
And please come visit. Board members, please come visit.
Okay. Hey, are any other contiguous neighbors on Zoom or present? And we'll go with present people first that wish to speak on this. Anybody on Zoom who's a contiguous neighbor?
Yeah, we
Max.
are. My
Go
name
ahead,
is
Max.
Max Fort Gang. This is my wife, Kat.
Hello.
We're just
State your full names, please, for the record.
Max Fort Gang.
Kat Powell.
I'm the owner of the property, 267 Wittenberg Road.
Okay, thank you.
We're
Go ahead.
right on the right. If you're facing the properties were on the right of Hall's Apple. And, our sole interest is just making sure that the neighborhood and our community stays residential, right? I think that anything grandfathered in that's been going on for a really long time is understandable and lawful, but anything that is an expansion or a change in operation, from what we understand to be zoning and zoning laws, is not, and our big concern is just making sure that there isn't an industrial multi-use space unlawfully operating next door to us. I mean, our big reason for planting roots where we did was that it would be, a residential area and neighborhood. And I think it's pretty, our interests are pretty clear and, I believe pretty straightforward, and in everybody else's, all the other neighbors' interests as well, is that, we live there because it's a nice, quiet residential neighborhood, and that's what we want it to remain. So I don't know, Kat, if you have anything else to add, but that's our only reason for being on the Zoom and interacting with you guys and
Yeah.
supporting the building department's decision to block any further expansion or change in use. And it's pretty straightforward from my perspective. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, agreed.
Keep it short and sweet.
That's what we wanted to add.
Oh, we like that. Karen, I'm looking, we're all turned away because we're looking at the TV. It's back here in the corner.
Well, thanks for
Thank
giving
you.
us the time of day and looking at us. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Thank you. Are there anybody else in the public wishes to speak about this?
Can I mention something?
Sure.
So, my name is Michael Sue, I'm Nancy's husband, going through the same plight that she put out as far as the, how crowded they got down there. And it wasn't up until, I have to say, until John Luther moved in there. He actually was pretty arrogant about our being upset about the land being cleared because we were not, I guess we were not, we didn't live there long enough. I feel that Bob's approach to it being grandfathered in was part of perhaps, part of where the problem grew. We didn't know grandfathered in from anything else either until we looked up what the rules and regulations were, the zoning board. And quite frankly, there's a lot of it in there that it is not correct to what the code is now. And it may not be to Bob's liking, but I think that we watched this happen and had this all happening without uttering a word, basically, for 40 years, me for 35 of those 40 years. But if the rule is now, if the laws now say you can't do this anymore, then that something should be done about it. That should stop, it should be stayed stop. And Butch, the
Zoning enforcement.
right,
Officer.
he thought it was also. He looked at it and we didn't put the violation in, he put the violation in.
And that's why we're here.
And we thought it was proper. Thank you.
All right, Michael, thank you.
Thanks.
May I add something?
Yeah, I figured I did and let you go again. Yeah. Anybody else from the public?
There's someone on Zoom.
We have.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
There's
I've got,
Amanda on Zoom.
yeah, I've got 4 kids. Sorry, and it's like their bedtime and bath time. So apologize. I'll be quick like Max. So I bought the house in 2015, residential, very quiet area. We never really heard any noises.
I'm sorry, did
Occasion.
you state your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, Amanda Lair. I also sent in a statement. I live right next to Bob, so I'm only 1 house away. So, and I can look through the yards and I can see the last 3 years, well, like around COVID, I saw the for rent sign up, and it was up for a while. I don't know if it's still up, but it sounds like there's a sawmill over there. It's constantly going. You hear landscaping early as 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 7 days a week, motors of like leaf blowers and lawnmowers. I hear trucks slamming, gunshots sometimes coming from there. I don't know that. And I also hear like trucks opening and closing, but it's so loud sometimes it shakes the house that I have to call a neighbor, Sam Taylor. I don't know if she's in the audience, but she's right next to me. I'll say, do you hear that? Did you hear it? It's that shaking and that noise. But yeah, the last 3 years, it's such an increase of noise. And I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know they weren't illegally, I didn't know they didn't have a permit, but it makes sense. I saw the for rent sign go up right about in the beginning of COVID, it went up around that property. So 3 years would make sense. Yeah. So I'm here to say, like, we have 4 kids. We bought the house in 2015. It was residential, and we've definitely heard an increase in noise, and not really pleasant noise. So that's it. Thank you for my time.
Okay, Amanda, thank you. Is there anybody else in the public who wishes to speak at this time? Not Bob, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, I just wanted to say that John Luther his operation isn't working on the property. He's using it as a home base. He keeps his equipment there. He works on it when it needs servicing or what have you. As far as the noise that the one lady was complaining about, usually there's nothing before 7 o'clock. My nephew doesn't start until 7. And there's yard work going on all around, not just on our property. Across the street, next door neighbor, leaf blowers going. So that's not all coming from our property.
Mhm.
And as far as the ground shaking noise that the one person was referring to, I have no idea what that is.
Well, you're on a ridge there. It travels along the stone.
Well, yeah, but I don't know what would be
No, but I'm saying. keep
causing
going.
that kind of a noise.
Are you there every day?
Yep, I am. I grew up there. I've been there 73 years.
Right, but you don't live on the property.
I don't live on the property currently, no. No, my dad gave me the property, and Pat has a life estate there. She's a life tenant. I'm there every day. I'm doing maintenance and repairs on the property, trying to keep it up, so forth. And like I say, I've been there, worked there, grew up there. So there's always been something going on there.
Gordon, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Jude had stated that she had thought that pre-existing non-conforming use would expire when the business stopped. Do we have clarification? Is that actually what is supposed to happen? So in other words, his father's business now no longer exists. So what I don't understand is how all of these other businesses have been moved in to a residential area if the original business that was there before the law went into effect it doesn't exist anymore. So it seems that.
Well, I imagine, Marcia, that if just a photographer had moved in the building, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Right.
Home maintenance business has been there for probably at least 20 years, say.
But it's still not the original business that was granted the non-conform use. So it's been there for 20 years only because it didn't bother the neighbors and no one reported it to Woodstock.
Who's the home maintenance business? What's that?
Pardon me?
What's the name of the home maintenance business?
I think it's Whole Samples Home Maintenance.
Oh, is that the family? That's the family business?
It's my nephew.
Oh.
It's in my paperwork,
Mhm.
names.
Jude, are you clear on what that actual code is that you mentioned earlier?
Well, the main thing we're looking at here, Marcia, from my understanding, is that this continues on as an owner occupied business. But so once it's gone to rental, there's a big question here about whether this can. So that seems to be the main issue here.
So if that's the case, then none of those trucking businesses there are operating legally. If that's the code, the way the code is.
Perhaps,
Well, there was always, we had heavy equipment, dump trucks, tractor trailers.
but that was yours,
My dad's, yeah.
right? But this is somebody else's.
Right, and I would think
That
that,
may be the problem.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say what is or isn't.
I think,
I'm not a lawyer, but, so I'm not gonna say what's what, but that seems to be the problem, you know?
I also,
Because in the code that, the owner
Yeah,
has to be, owner occupied.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's what I have to look into a little more.
Okay.
I think that some home occupations are as of right, and some of them you need a special use permit.
Good
But
point.
what we also, yeah, I think it's now a full-blown construction yard, it seems.
Contractors.
Yeah, contractor's yard. So, you're saying, it was one, but that was the owner occupied. Now it's being rented as one. So I think that's the main issue here.
Well, it's not
I'll
an industrial.
take Nancy,
exemption.
I'll listen to Nancy here for a second.
I would just like to clarify that some of the noise that Bob may not be hearing is what I've seen happening is when a big dump truck that John Luther has, after it dumps its load, and then the bed comes back down, it's a big noise.
Sure, most of the noise will be in the morning and in the afternoon.
Well,
Or maybe throughout the
they're
day.
coming and going, and he's trailering a lot of heavy equipment. He has a bucket loader, he has earth movers,
Right,
these kinds of guys, and then he works on them.
right, which is a
as well.
contractor's yard, we understand, right? Yeah.
But there's no SUP for contractor's yard, the amount of vehicles allowed on the contractor's yard are not there. The fencing is not there, Pat's garden is impacted. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on the board have any other questions? Bob, any questions or anything else you want to add at this time?
No, I guess not.
Gordon, there are a few more people who just came online. I don't know if they wanted to speak.
Okay, so last chance. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this hearing that we were in session with? I'm going to take that as a no, if I don't hear something in about 5 seconds. So with that, basically, we have 62 days usually to render a decision. Try to do it sooner than that, but anything with a legal thing, we have to do a little consulting and a little back and forth just to, because if you've ever read any legal, long, lengthy document, you get a lot of ambiguous language, and we try to tidy that to come to the core of what it means. So,
Okay, I understand.
and we may have, we may even, if we need to do another site visit, we'll get a hold of
Yep,
you.
I
Okay.
would welcome it.
I live right in the neighborhood. I'm over on Shelters Farm Road.
Oh, okay.
So, with that, I guess, any other questions about the process here?
No, not at this time.
Okay. So with that, we would be closing the public hearing. That doesn't mean that we can't receive more documentation or information via email or presented to the clerk's office directly, or any digital format that you care to participate in. So, and with that, I am going to close the public meeting for 23, what's this number? 03. Do I have a second?
Second.
Furthermore, I'd like to recess case number 2303. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Bob.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael, Nancy. Hey, thank you all Zoom people. Thank you, Zoomies.
Thank you. Glad to have a name.
Can I introduce Pat to the Zooms? This is Pat, our wonderful neighbor. who
Hey,
lives-
Pat.
These are neighbors along the road.
We'll see you on Wittenberg.
Good luck with everything, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Good to see you.
Bye-bye, you too.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
Appreciate everyone
Yeah.
stepping up to the job you guys have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What, are you crazy? No.
Yeah, well, I should know better.
There's nothing else to do on this. Thank you.
It's old hat for me.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Will I be notified along with Bob?
Michelle, then you don't notify the contiguous neighbors, do you?
No, she's the owner.
I
Oh,
notified all the
yeah.
contiguous neighbors. Yes.
Yeah, excuse me, yeah. What?
I notified all the contiguous neighbors.
No,
Yeah.
but Pat's the, this is Patricia Holzapfel.
Patricia holds that.
This is Mrs. Holsapple. Patricia Holsapple.
She's not listed here as a contiguous neighbor. Milton and
No, she's
Margaret are,
owner.
so they got it.
She's the owner.
She's the owner.
Oh,
With Ro-
okay.
With Robert A. It's.
I sent them an email with all the information.
Okay,
I wouldn't have.
you can
known.
always call the clerk's office here. Michelle, they're here every day
Yeah, she's.
too. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known of this meeting except for Nancy
Oh.
telling me.
Okay, all right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, have a good night.
Do you want us to put chairs over?
No, it's okay.
Thanks again.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Okay, moving on.
You know, you closed it, but can I add a question here?
What?
You did close everything, but I have a question.
Well, we're gonna have to open it again if you really need to ask right now.
Well, I think it's a question we need for clarification.
Well, we can work on this separately. You can call me, privately, call everybody else.
Okay,
Unless you find it really necessary to open the meeting to talk about it.
no, I mean, it's just a clarification. I can talk to you about it. We can talk.
That's
about
what this is all gonna be, clarifications. Yeah, it's a meeting, a case of clarifications.
Well, then I'll make a statement.
No need. If you really do, I'll open the meeting.
All right.
Let's open it then.
Yeah.
All right, let's open 2203, second. All favor, aye, okay, go ahead.
So my understanding, when there is a life estate, that person is the owner. And that the property will pass to somebody else upon that person's, when they pass.
Right,
So Mrs. Holsapple is the owner. That's
yes.
all I want clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, she's the owner. He
Right,
doesn't.
well,
own the property.
he said his dad left it to him, but it's a life estate.
Yes, yes, she's there for the light, yes.
Gotcha.
But I guess he runs the property, he has the right to run the property.
Well, he may be a beneficiary of the life estate. That's
Yeah.
what I'm. But
I
he-
thought just the house she lived in, from what
Well, that would be something I'm looking to find
he
out.
said was the life.
Yeah, well, we have to,
estate,
yeah,
not
we
the rest of the
want to,
property.
yeah, sort that out a little bit, yeah.
Oh, that's
There's a
all.
lot of little legal things we want to,
Right.
but my main understanding on this is what I mentioned a few times is, this is, this right there in the zoning code, that this usage is for an owner occupied business.
Right.
You know, and maybe the home maintenance business, perhaps if it's extended family, I don't know, but when we get into John Luther and the other 5, he says he has 5 tenants.
Yeah.
This isn't just one other tenant, there's 5 tenants there. So, anyway,
And it's
Am I-
clear. Go ahead, Joe.
Gordon, am I doing this one or was
Yes.
someone?
This
yeah,
is
we
your
thought-
case.
I thought you were, yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to do it.
Jude, have you seen the
That's the
property yet?
spirit.
I haven't seen it recently. I used to drive by, but not recently.
Okay, with
I-
that, if
I
we
would
could,
like to see it next week when I'm back.
yes, I encourage everybody to take a look.
It's very accessible. You do not need to call
Okay.
before you go over there. You can drive right in and see
I'm sure
every-
nobody would
everything that
notice.
he described about.
Right,
yeah.
okay. I'm just not quite sure where it is. I mean, I go up and down Wittenberg Road, but I don't think I've seen
It's
it.
between Baker and, it's before
Yeah, you
Baker
can't miss it.
Road. It's before the firehouse. It's before the firehouse. It's before the store up there. So that's straight away at the top of the hill. After the big turn, if you go top
Right
of the,
past Cub Market, you mean?
before that, it's between the market and the town of Woodstock.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Not co-market.
Not the
It's
Cub Market.
Market and,
No, she's talking about the Bearsville Post Office. The Cub.
huh? I thought she said Haranas.
No, she said Cub.
I understand that now. Okay. So can I close this meeting? I would like to close 2303. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a request here for, so I would like to open up case 21-27. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is from Louise Cooper. She is requesting an extension on her plans for a carport at 6 Chester's Place, Woodstock, New York, 12498. I was unable to build it due to other expenses coming up. Thank you. She didn't request an actual time on here, did she?
No.
Did we?
When I spoke to her on the phone, she requested a year, but I told her to put that in the email, but she didn't.
Grant the variance?
Yes.
We've run it.
We granted the variance in January 27th, 2022.
Yeah, I have the decision right here.
We've run into this before. The boilerplate says that the variance lasts for a year.
Correct.
So
This was, it's been over a year now, so.
What do you mean the variance lasts?
like,
for a
like
year?
if you apply for a variance to build a building and we give you the variance,
You have 1 year.
To build,
in the boilerplate,
because it's always got the variance. thus
but the variance
property's
only
there.
lasts a year to do the job.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you can just wait forever to do it. You have
I
to do it,
understand.
right?
But it's something that's buried in the boilerplate and
Mhm.
whether or not it,
Well, it was February 3rd, 20.
whether or not there's any things that have changed in that time period.
So I would like to propose that we grant her 1 more year to February 3rd, 2024.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
Thank you. I'll let her know tomorrow.
I'll sign this request.
Perfect. I have a memo that I also sent to the building department and I'll CC you on it, Gordon, tomorrow.
Five in favor, none opposed, right there on the letter. Okay, so any other matters before the board tonight? Oh, let me close, I didn't close it. Let me close case number 21-27. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye, great. Okay, any other matters before the board tonight? Jude, did
Just
you
a new
want
case.
time to discuss the building there on, or are you just gonna discuss it internally?
Anybody else who would like to go by, I would say, take a look, consider what it is. It's a fairly substantial building and we can talk about it.
With 2 bathrooms, okay.
Well, that's what the application said, yeah.
That's the kicker, okay.
Well, that's not.
Oh, yeah, well, I won't say anymore unless we want to open the meeting,
No,
open the case, so,
no, I would just encourage people to take a look.
okay.
Well, you don't have to, you can just drive by. It's right there. It's right at the corner of Mill Street and
You drive by every day, I just have to drive by and look.
Look.
Yeah. Like I said, same thing,
Where is it? Corner of what?
Mill and 375.
Mill Street and 375. It's an old farmhouse on the corner.
Was that a house that was just sold recently? Yeah, okay, I know.
2020, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
When are you coming back, Marcia?
I'm gonna leave here Monday or Tuesday, so depending on weather, I have to but my target is to be back by the end of the week, by Sunday at the latest.
All right, so you'll be here for the next meeting and you can have a chance
Definitely.
to look at that too.
Yeah, definitely.
So Joe had enough.
My internet's very unstable. Everybody keeps freezing up, so.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems, I think, with the service today in Woodstock. It said the ice, all the ice, I think, on the lines. So.
We have
anyway,
one new case, guys, so I don't know who wants to take that one, if you wanted to decide now or.
The new case, I'll take one, I guess, since somebody else wants it.
You want to go to the.
It's on Cooper Lake Road. It's a case number 2304, a variance for a 40-foot infringement to require 75 front yard setback and a 30-foot infringement to require front yard setback to construct a 2-story addition to existing residence and relocate existing shed.
I mean, if you don't want it, I'll take it, but I would like to go by and just see it, but I usually walk.
Well, Martin would like it,
She
so,
can have it.
no, let's give it to Martin. You still got the other case, so let's spread them around.
Okay.
That'd be good. Yeah, everybody take a look anytime. We all need to know what's going on, or we don't, but it's good. So, without further ado, I would like to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
I.
Aye. Thanks for all coming out, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you, Michelle.
Nice
Have a good night, guys.
Okay.
And
So.